humanity changed forever.
Quietly, most people never even noticed it slipping away. But one single generation experienced something that modern humans may literally never experience again. Real life disappeared. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. The last generation that experienced real life. It's a profound, honestly almost existential shift. We're going to map out exactly how human connection, focus, and time itself completely transformed as we shifted from physical reality into the hyper-connected digital world we all live in today. We're looking at the exact neurological mechanisms that stole our attention, and how the very fabric of human consciousness was fundamentally rewritten in just a few short decades. So let's start right here. Life before the screen. Before smartphones absolutely dominated our pockets, life actually moved slower. It was structured entirely around genuine physical presence. Families talked face-to-face, kids played outside, and there was this peaceful, unhurried rhythm to how we experienced the day. You see, human biology evolved for a world of natural pacing. Our brains were wired to sync with the rising and setting of the sun, the immediate faces of our neighbors, and the tactile, real sensations of the physical world. And this lost era was built on a few core pillars: real friendships, longer conversations, pure silence, deep focus. People shared physical spaces and just laughed together. Because the chaotic digital world didn't exist yet, our human attention spans were naturally much stronger and way more resilient. Without algorithms actively fracturing our concentration every 3 minutes, a person could sit with a book, a mechanical task, or simply a thought for hours. Deep focus wasn't some biological hack you had to learn on YouTube. It was literally the default state of the human mind. And this brilliantly illustrates a fascinating psychological paradox between boredom and imagination. In the analog world, boredom wasn't a disease you had to instantly cure with a screen. When a child sat quietly outside, they were forced to invent their own entertainment. That blank space, that boredom, was the exact catalyst that created incredible imagination. Neurologically speaking, when the brain is deprived of external stimuli, it activates the default mode network. That's the brain's internal playground, where creativity, self-reflection, and complex problem-solving are actually born. By eradicating boredom, we accidentally eradicated the very birthplace of human ingenuity. But then, everything accelerated. Pre-2000s, we had the analog era. By the 2000s, the internet explosion hit. And from the 2010s onward, we fully entered the algorithmic age. The pace of human existence rapidly sped up. Phones appeared worldwide, social media arrived in a massive flood of apps, and the digital world began to consume the earth. This wasn't just a technological upgrade, guys, it was an evolutionary hijack. In the span of a single generation, our primary environment shifted from the three-dimensional physical world to a flat, two-dimensional digital stream. So what's the unseen mechanism driving all of this? The attention business. Giant companies engineered entire systems specifically to grab human brains and monetize our focus. This wasn't an accident. Attention literally became a globally traded commodity, completely restructuring how society values human time and consciousness. Thousands of the smartest engineers and psychologists on the planet were hired with one singular goal: to figure out how to keep your eyes on a screen for just one more second. They weaponized behavioral psychology, essentially turning human vulnerability into corporate profit. And the direct psychological result of that business model? Dopamine addiction. Humans slowly developed a clinical dependence on constant digital stimulation. The dopamine effects of endless scrolling completely hijacked our brain's natural reward systems, trapping us in this loop of constantly seeking the next digital hit. Every notification, every single like, every pull to refresh, it acts exactly like a slot machine. It delivers a variable ratio schedule of reinforcement. You never actually know when the reward is coming or how big it'll be, which triggers a massive dopamine spike. Your brain literally chemically alters itself to crave the screen. So the crucial point is we traded real reality for phone reality. Empty playgrounds were replaced by glowing faces illuminated in the dark. The outside world simply became less important to us. Friendships moved entirely online, leading to this strange new era of lonely texting instead of genuine physical connection. When our social lives were abstracted into text bubbles and follower counts, we lost the micro-expressions, the tone of voice, the physical proximity that actually bonds human beings together. We traded deep, messy reality for a sanitized, endless digital void. Which brings us to a really haunting realization: the death of silence. The calm, peaceful quiet of a sunset, the natural stillness that humans used to experience every single day, it completely vanished. Silence used to be the default backdrop of human existence. It was the space where we processed our emotions, where we confronted our anxieties, and where we actually found peace. But now, it's the one thing we actively avoid. It was instantly replaced by digital chaos, constant notifications, instant scrolling, anxious stillness. Today, boredom is nearly impossible because we immediately pull out our phones and scroll the second we feel a void. Modern humans now actively fear stillness, resulting in a severely overstimulated brain and a constant, anxious hum. Think about it. When you take a brain evolved for the African savanna and subject it to a hyper-spade barrage of global news, social comparisons, and flashing colors, the nervous system enters a state of chronic, low-level fight or flight. We are perpetually exhausted because our minds are never, ever permitted to rest. And honestly, the terrifying part about all of this, most people think this is normal. Giant crowds of people are just accepting this digital isolation as standard life. We walk past dozens of people staring at glowing rectangles in total silence, and we don't even question it. It's basically a collective delusion on a global scale. We've completely normalized a behavior that just 20 years ago would have been considered a severe psychological disorder. Entire societies are just sleepwalking through their physical lives while their consciousness is trapped in a server rack miles away. Human life was fundamentally designed for peace, quiet observation, and physical presence. We were absolutely never designed to consume massive bursts of endless digital stimulation every single second of the day. It's an unprecedented overload for the human brain. Just think about the sheer volume of information a modern human processes in a single hour of scrolling. It's more social data, tragedy, comedy, and comparison than an ancient human would have encountered in their entire lifetime. The biological hardware simply cannot keep up with the digital software. And slowly, through that intense overload, we became a lost humanity. The emotional fading of reality began. Children stopped looking out the window, opting to stare at screens indoors. Families might sit in the exact same room, but they're emotionally miles apart. Humanity fully entered the digital age. We achieved peak technological connectivity at the exact cost of psychological presence. We're sitting right next to each other, breathing the same air, but our minds are wandering through entirely separate, algorithmically curated universes.
It fundamentally changed how we process our own memories, too. We shifted from experiencing moments to recording moments. Instead of actually being present during a beautiful event, people now instinctively hold up a phone to digitally capture it. We sacrifice the genuine real-world experience just to record it for a digital feed. Psychologists actually call this the photo-taking impairment effect. By outsourcing our memory to our devices, we fail to encode the memory in our own brains. We are literally trading the internal emotional richness of our own lives for external performative proof that we lived them. Our psychological baselines have just completely collapsed. Friendships have been reduced to notifications. Entertainment equals addiction. Silence equals discomfort. We are technically connected to everyone on Earth, yet completely emotionally disconnected from reality itself. These aren't just cultural shifts, they're a redefinition of the human soul. When the metric for friendship becomes a streak on an app, and the metric for self-worth becomes a like count, we hollow out the incredible depth of the human experience. Attention spans collapse slowly, then, all at once.
Which forces us to ask this massive question: did reality itself disappear? If our entire emotional, social, and professional lives are trapped inside screens, what happened to the real world we used to inhabit? It's like if a tree falls in a forest and no one posts a video of it, does it still make a sound? More importantly, if you live an entire physical life, but your consciousness is entirely absorbed by a screen, did you ever really live at all? The real tragedy is that the generation that truly understood analog life may already be fading. Future generations just won't know life before endless scrolling. They won't know life before algorithms tracking their every move. They won't know life before dopamine loops. That version of humanity might already be gone forever. They'll inherit a world where their attention is harvested right from birth. The idea of looking out the window on a long car ride, just letting the mind wander, will seem not just foreign to them, but intensely uncomfortable. Technology didn't just change human behavior. It changed human experience itself. It altered the very fabric of what it means to be a conscious, living person in this world. We built these incredible machines to serve us, but we slowly reshaped our own psychology to serve the machines. The algorithm didn't just learn what we like, it literally taught us how to be.
So here we are, the rarest thing in modern life,
is a truly present human being. I want you to look at your own habits. Really ask yourself, are you truly present? Or are you just another mind, drifting somewhere in the digital ether?